Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight, we're settling into the quiet rhythm of the natural world, exploring the gentle mysteries of patterns all around us. In this video, we'll softly uncover the secret language of nature's design, the Fibonacci sequence. From spirals in leaves and flowers to the curves hidden deep within nature, these patterns quietly shape life's beauty and balance. This will be a gentle journey, so if you find yourself drifting off to sleep, that's perfectly okay. Settle in, get comfortable, and join me as we uncover one of nature's greatest mysteries. Now, let's begin. If you look closely at a seashell or watch a young vine curling softly around a branch, you might notice a familiar shape, a spiral, unfolding quietly and endlessly. These spirals aren't random. They follow a subtle rhythm, a repeating pattern quietly woven into the fabric of nature. One such pattern is called the Fibonacci sequence. It's a simple rule. Each number is the sum of the two that came before. Starting with 1 and 1, the sequence grows 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on, creating a progression that appears again and again in plants, shells, and even the structure of galaxies. Closely tied to this sequence is a special number known as the golden ratio, sometimes called nature's secret number. It represents balance and growth in an almost magical way, shaping the way leaves arrange themselves or flowers bloom. But why does nature favor this number? What makes it so fundamental to life's design? These questions gently invite us to look closer, to wonder at the invisible code that guides growth and form. Tonight, we'll begin to unravel these mysteries, exploring how this simple pattern helps living things grow with efficiency and beauty. Let's start this quiet journey into the secret language of nature. But what exactly are Fibonacci numbers? At their heart, they're a sequence, a quietly growing series of numbers created by adding together the two numbers that came just before. Starting with the simplest beginnings, this method creates a pattern that unfolds slowly, steadily, like the gentle turning of a spiral. The numbers themselves stretch outward, each one bigger than the last, but all linked by this simple rule. This sequence might seem like a purely mathematical curiosity, but it holds a special place because it reveals something deeper about growth and form. Instead of random numbers scattered about, these values emerge again and again in nature, quietly underlying the shapes of many living things. It's a hidden structure that connects the smallest leaf to the largest shell, all bound by this silent numerical rhythm. The beauty of Fibonacci numbers lies in their elegant simplicity. They form the foundation of spirals, patterns, and rhythms we might otherwise overlook, a secret code that nature uses to build efficiently and harmoniously. They are not merely abstract digits, but a language written across time and space, visible in the quiet designs of plants and animals, and even galaxies. Understanding this sequence is like glimpsing the hidden architecture behind the natural world. Beyond the quiet gardens and forests, spirals and curves emerge throughout nature on vastly different scales. Take seashells, for example, those delicate, twisting homes of ocean creatures. Each shell often grows in a smooth, expanding spiral, curving outward in a way that's both beautiful and practical. This shape allows the shell to grow steadily as the animal inside matures, providing strength and space without wasting precious material. The spiral form isn't random. It follows an underlying pattern that guides this gradual expansion, producing a shape both efficient and graceful. On a much grander scale, spirals appear in the cosmos. Galaxies, those enormous collections of stars, dust, and gas, often swirl in stunning spiral arms. These majestic cosmic spirals span hundreds of thousands of light years, sweeping outward like vast pinwheels spinning through space. Their shape emerges from gravitational forces and the motion of stars, but, intriguingly, their spirals echo the same mathematical principles that govern tiny shells on Earth. It's as if nature's patterns repeat across scales, from microscopic to galactic, whispering a common language of growth and movement. Even within weather systems, spirals emerge. Hurricanes and cyclones twist in enormous swirling patterns driven by Earth's rotation and atmospheric forces. These spirals concentrate energy and motion, shaping storms that influence climates and lives. The repetition of spirals in so many natural contexts, from ocean to sky to space, invites wonder. What is it about these curves that appeals so deeply? Why does nature favor spirals as a form of growth, structure, and motion? These questions gently pull us toward the mysteries beneath the patterns, urging a closer look at the hidden order beneath apparent chaos. Among the many patterns that quietly shape the world, one number stands apart, a special constant that seems woven into the very fabric of nature. Known as the golden ratio, it is often called nature's secret number. This ratio, which many find naturally pleasing to the eye, appears again and again in living things, architecture, and art. It expresses a sense of balance, harmony, and proportion that feels deeply satisfying, even if we can't quite put our finger on why. The golden ratio emerges when a line or shape is divided, so that the smaller part relates to the larger part, just as the larger part relates to the whole. This relationship creates proportions that seem perfectly balanced, neither too symmetrical nor too chaotic. It's a quiet harmony that whispers of natural order, one that shows up in spirals, branching patterns, and growth processes. This balance isn't just about beauty. It helps living systems grow efficiently, using space and resources wisely. You might see the golden ratio reflected in the way leaves spiral around a stem, how shells curl, or how flowers arrange their petals. It's a subtle guide, a gentle blueprint that helps life unfold with rhythm and grace. People have noticed this mysterious number for thousands of years, sensing its presence without fully understanding it. It's like a hidden thread that connects art, nature, and science, reminding us that balance lies at the heart of the world around us. This quiet secret invites us to wonder, why does this number appear so often? Is it simply a coincidence, or something deeper guiding life's patterns? As we explore further, we'll uncover how this special ratio shapes living things in surprising ways. Humans have long been captivated by the mysterious patterns they find in the world. Long before the term Fibonacci was known, people observed spirals and rhythms repeating in shells, flowers, and trees. These shapes seemed to hint at a hidden order beneath nature's surface, inviting curiosity and wonder. The Fibonacci sequence itself was first described in the 13th century by Leonardo of Pisa, known as Fibonacci, who introduced it through a problem about rabbit populations. But the numbers and spirals it reveals had been quietly present in art, architecture, and nature for centuries before. Ancient civilizations admired these patterns, incorporating similar proportions in their designs, from the pyramids of Egypt to the Parthenon in Greece, seeking harmony and balance that reflected the natural world. This fascination continues today, as scientists, artists, and thinkers explore how the Fibonacci sequence and the related golden ratio appear throughout our surroundings. It seems as if there is a timeless dialogue between nature and human creativity, each mirroring the other in shapes and structures. We see these numbers and spirals in everything from seashells to sunflowers, and even in the way galaxies spiral across the universe. For centuries, these patterns have been a source of inspiration, a quiet symbol of order amid complexity. They connect the realms of mathematics, art, and biology, in ways that feel almost magical. The enduring allure of Fibonacci's numbers reminds us that the world is woven with threads of beauty and logic, inviting us to look closer and appreciate the subtle rhythms that shape life itself. Long before modern science could explain the mathematics behind patterns in nature, early naturalists were quietly observing and recording the beauty around them. These early thinkers, curious souls wandering forests, examining flowers, and turning over stones by the sea, noticed that certain shapes and arrangements kept appearing again and again. Spirals in shells, the whirls of leaves, the branching of trees. These patterns seemed more than random chance. Naturalists such as Johann Wolfgang von Goethe in the 18th century reflected on how plants grow and organize themselves. He coined the term morphology to describe the study of forms and structures, pondering why nature favored some shapes over others. Goethe and others began to appreciate that the patterns they saw weren't just decorative, but functional, deeply connected to how living things survive and thrive. As the centuries passed, these observations laid the groundwork for more detailed scientific investigations. Naturalists noticed that the spirals of pine cones and sunflowers often followed a mysterious numerical sequence. Their careful sketches and notes sparked questions about the hidden rules guiding growth, symmetry, and efficiency in living things. This inspired later scientists and mathematicians to explore these natural codes more rigorously. The awe and wonder early naturalists felt is still with us today. Their keen eyes and thoughtful curiosity remind us that science often begins with simple observation, paying attention to the quiet rhythms of the world. It's through this patient looking that we uncover the secrets woven into the fabric of life, slowly unraveling nature's language, one pattern at a time. Nature rarely produces perfect shapes, yet certain mathematical patterns emerge again and again in the living world. These patterns are more like approximations than exact formulas, beautifully imperfect echoes of mathematical ideals. A spiral shell isn't a flawless curve, but it follows a consistent, graceful sweep. A sunflower's seeds don't align with perfect precision, yet their arrangement closely matches mathematical spirals known as Fibonacci spirals. This recurring pattern of near perfection suggests that nature favors efficient and adaptable growth strategies. Rather than rigidly following exact numbers, plants and animals develop forms that work well enough to survive and reproduce in a changing environment. For example, the spirals in pine cones or pineapples approximate Fibonacci numbers, allowing seeds to pack densely without wasting space. The golden ratio, often called nature's secret number, appears as an ideal balance between parts. But in living things, it is always an approximation. Leaves and petals rarely align in perfect mathematical order, yet they come close enough to optimize sunlight capture or reproductive success. These slight variations are important, allowing flexibility and resilience rather than strict uniformity. In this way, nature's recurring mathematical patterns reflect a harmony between order and chaos, precision and variation. They are the fingerprints of evolutionary processes shaping growth, form, and function. Though imperfect, these patterns guide how life unfolds, from the spiral arms of galaxies to the whirls of tiny seedlings. This quiet balance between exact mathematics and organic variation invites us to wonder at the delicate intelligence woven into the natural world. The fascination with Fibonacci's patterns stretches far beyond mathematics, weaving through cultures, science, and art alike. Across history, people have been captivated by the way these numbers appear in nature and human creations, sparking curiosity that transcends time and place. From ancient civilizations to modern scientists, the intrigue of Fibonacci's sequence has inspired a shared sense of wonder. Artists have long been drawn to the golden ratio connected to Fibonacci numbers, using it to create works that feel balanced and harmonious. Paintings, sculptures, and architectural designs incorporate these proportions consciously or unconsciously to evoke a natural sense of beauty. This enduring appeal suggests that the patterns resonate deeply with human perception, tapping into an intuitive understanding of order and elegance. In science, Fibonacci's sequence appears in surprising places, from the spirals of galaxies to the growth patterns of plants and animals. Researchers study these patterns to uncover underlying principles of development, efficiency, and adaptation. The sequence acts as a bridge between abstract mathematics and the tangible world, inviting scientists to explore how complex forms arise from simple rules. Culturally, Fibonacci's numbers have appeared in mythology, philosophy, and folklore. Some traditions see these patterns as a symbol of the universe's inherent order, while others view them as a mystical code hidden within the natural world. This broad fascination reflects a universal human desire to find meaning and connection in the patterns that surround us. Ultimately, Fibonacci's sequence inspires curiosity by revealing a subtle harmony linking diverse fields and experiences. It encourages us to look closer, to question, and to appreciate the intricate dance between numbers, nature, and creativity, a quiet invitation to explore the mysteries woven through life itself. But what if we look more closely at how plants arrange their leaves? One of nature's most elegant strategies involves spirals, a pattern known as spiral phyllotaxis. This arrangement allows leaves to be positioned in a way that maximizes their exposure to sunlight, which is crucial for photosynthesis and survival. In spiral phyllotaxis, each new leaf grows at a specific angle from the previous one, often close to the golden angle of about 137.5 degrees. This spacing prevents leaves from shading one another, ensuring that every leaf receives optimal light. The result is a beautifully efficient system where energy is gathered with minimal waste, demonstrating how plants have evolved to use natural patterns for practical benefits. This spiral pattern is not random, but follows a precise order, creating leaf arrangements that spiral upward around the stem. From a distance, these spirals look perfectly balanced and orderly, yet they are also flexible enough to adapt to different environmental conditions. This natural design reveals an astonishing harmony between form and function, where mathematical patterns support the essential process of life. As you imagine these spirals unfurling in soft sunlight, consider how this quiet efficiency sustains forests, gardens, and fields around the world. Each leaf's placement is a subtle part of a grand design, showing how nature quietly uses geometry to thrive. Let's pause here and explore how the Fibonacci pattern appears in seed packing, one of nature's most efficient ways to fill space. Sunflower heads provide a stunning example. When you look closely, you'll notice that their seeds form two sets of spirals curving in opposite directions. These spirals don't just create a pleasing design, they optimize how seeds fit together, allowing the plant to pack the maximum number of seeds into a limited area. This efficient packing ensures that each seed has enough room to grow while minimizing wasted space. The spirals in sunflowers often correspond to consecutive Fibonacci numbers, like 34 spirals going one way and 55 spirals going the other. This arrangement balances seed distribution and supports the plant's reproductive success. Similarly, pine cones display overlapping scales arranged in spiral patterns that echo Fibonacci numbers. These spirals allow the scales to overlap perfectly, protecting the seeds inside while maintaining structural strength. The careful arrangement maximizes protection and seed dispersal efficiency, crucial for the pine tree's life cycle. By following these natural spirals, both sunflowers and pine cones demonstrate a remarkable way that living systems solve complex spatial problems through simple, repeating patterns. This packing strategy is a quiet but powerful testament to the elegance of nature's geometry, blending beauty with function in the plant world. But what if we look more closely at why spiral patterns matter so much for plants? One key advantage lies in reducing shadowing on leaves. When leaves grow in spirals around a stem, a pattern called spiral phyllotaxis, they're arranged to minimize overlap, ensuring each leaf receives optimal sunlight. This careful spacing allows sunlight to reach more leaves throughout the day, increasing photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert light into energy. By avoiding shading one another, leaves can work more efficiently, capturing as much sunlight as possible to fuel growth and reproduction. In fact, the angle between successive leaves often approaches the golden angle, approximately 137, 5 degrees, an arrangement that distributes leaves evenly around the stem. This spacing pattern reduces shading by spreading leaves apart, so no leaf blocks its neighbor's access to light. This natural geometry reflects an elegant solution to the challenges plants face in crowded environments, where competing for sunlight can be critical. By adopting spiral growth patterns, plants balance maximizing light capture with conserving resources needed to support leaf development. The spiral's ability to reduce shadowing illustrates a subtle but vital way Fibonacci-related patterns contribute to plant survival. It's a beautiful example of how mathematical principles quietly influence living systems, creating efficient and harmonious designs without any conscious effort. Let's pause here and explore how Fibonacci numbers appear in the petals of flowers, connecting to their reproductive success. Many flowers have a number of petals that corresponds to a Fibonacci number: 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. This pattern is not just a coincidence, it plays a subtle but important role in reproduction. The number of petals influences how a flower presents itself to pollinators like bees, butterflies, and birds. A spiral, or symmetrical arrangement of petals, often based on Fibonacci numbers, creates a visually appealing and accessible landing platform. This helps attract pollinators and guides them efficiently toward the nectar and pollen. Moreover, the Fibonacci petal count contributes to optimal packing and spacing, ensuring that petals do not overlap too much. This maximizes the flower's exposure, increasing the likelihood that pollinators will notice and visit it. Since reproduction depends heavily on these visits, the petal pattern enhances the flower's chances of producing seeds and continuing its species. Some studies suggest that plants with Fibonacci-numbered petals might be evolutionarily favored because this arrangement balances structural stability and efficient resource use. Flowers that grow petals in these patterns tend to have shapes that withstand wind and rain better, protecting the delicate reproductive organs. So, Fibonacci numbers in flower petals aren't just a beautiful quirk. They represent an evolved strategy for reproduction. This intersection of mathematics and biology highlights how deeply these patterns are embedded in nature's designs, quietly influencing life's ongoing cycle. But what if we look more closely at the branching patterns in plants? Many trees, shrubs, and vines grow branches following spiral arrangements closely related to Fibonacci numbers. These branching patterns are more than just visually appealing. They serve crucial functions in stability and resource management. Spiral branching helps distribute mechanical stress evenly across a plant structure. Instead of branches competing for space or causing weakness by clustering, the spiral arrangement spaces them out efficiently. This reduces the risk of breakage from wind or the plant's own weight, allowing it to grow taller and stronger. From a resource perspective, these patterns optimize the flow of water, nutrients, and sugars throughout the plant. The spiral geometry creates a network that minimizes the length of transport pathways, reducing energy expenditure in moving vital substances from roots to leaves and back. Studies have shown that plants with spiral branching can adjust growth dynamically to environmental conditions. For example, when one branch is damaged, The spiral arrangement allows the plant to redirect resources and growth more effectively to healthy branches. This adaptability enhances the plant's survival chances in changing environments. This natural optimization through Fibonacci-related spirals reflects an intricate balance between form and function. It allows plants to maximize both structural integrity and resource efficiency, quietly demonstrating how mathematical principles underpin biological success. Just as branches above follow spiral patterns, many plant roots also grow in spirals, winding through the soil in elegant twisting paths. This spiral growth isn't random. It plays an important role in how plants explore and exploit their underground environment. Roots need to efficiently navigate dense soil, searching for water, nutrients, and space. Spiral growth allows roots to cover more ground in a compact area, avoiding obstacles and spreading out without wasting energy on repeated paths. This pattern helps plants maximize resource uptake in unpredictable and often challenging soil conditions. Research has shown that spiral root growth can improve soil penetration, allowing roots to push through hard or compacted layers more effectively. By twisting and turning, roots reduce the resistance they encounter, similar to how a drill bit spirals to bore into rock. The spiraling root architecture also helps stabilize plants against physical forces like wind or heavy rain. Roots anchored in a spiral pattern distribute mechanical stresses across a wider area underground, increasing overall plant resilience. This spiral root behavior is yet another example of how natural growth patterns connected to Fibonacci principles optimize survival. By exploring the soil in spirals, plants increase their chances of finding resources and maintaining stability, all while conserving energy. Through these underground spirals, nature reveals its quiet genius, an elegant blend of form, function, and efficiency rooted deep in the earth. Let's look more closely at why these spiral patterns matter so much for plant survival and adaptation. Nature rarely settles on random forms. Instead, the recurring spirals and Fibonacci sequences we see in leaves, seeds, roots, and branches represent an optimized design shaped by evolution. By following spiral arrangements, plants maximize their exposure to sunlight, ensuring leaves don't shade each other too much. This directly supports photosynthesis, the vital process by which plants convert light into energy. Efficient light capture means stronger growth, better health, and increased chances of thriving in competitive environments. Similarly, the way seeds are packed in spirals within pine cones or sunflowers optimizes space, allowing plants to produce more seeds in a given area. More seeds mean greater reproductive success, a key factor for the continuation of any species. Below ground, spiral root growth enhances the plant's ability to explore soil thoroughly and adapt to variable conditions. Roots can reach pockets of nutrients and water that might otherwise be missed by less efficient growth patterns. This flexibility improves resilience to droughts or poor soil quality. The structural stability provided by branching spirals helps plants withstand wind, rain, and other mechanical stresses. By distributing forces evenly through spiral patterns, plants reduce the risk of damage and increase longevity. Taken together, these natural patterns are not just beautiful, they are functional strategies honed by millions of years of evolution. They improve a plant's ability to adapt to its environment, survive challenges, and reproduce successfully. In this quiet, elegant way, Fibonacci spirals and related growth patterns become a blueprint for life itself, a harmony of form and function that helps plants flourish in an ever-changing world. Among the many wonders of nature's spirals, the shells of mollusks offer a striking example. From tiny sea snails to large chambered nautiluses, these creatures grow their shells in beautiful, ever-expanding spirals. Unlike rigid geometric spirals drawn by hand, these natural forms follow a precise self-similar curve that maintains its shape as it grows. This type of curve, often approximated by Fibonacci sequences, allows the shell to expand without losing its proportional form. The result is a shell that grows efficiently, protecting the animal inside while accommodating its increasing size. This growth pattern is a form of logarithmic spiral, where each successive curve grows proportionally larger in a consistent way. It's a natural solution to a biological challenge: how to build a structure that is both strong and spacious. As the mollusk matures, the shell must expand, but without changing its overall shape or becoming fragile. Following Fibonacci-based growth curves ensures the shell's strength is maintained while offering the expanding creature shelter. It's a remarkable balance between biology and mathematics. The elegance of these spirals has fascinated scientists and artists alike for centuries. The nautilus shell, with its nearly perfect spiral shape, is often used as a symbol of natural harmony and proportion. Its growth embodies the principle that simple mathematical rules can give rise to complex and beautiful forms. This intertwining of biology and geometry is one of nature's quiet marvels, a testament to the deep connections between life and mathematical order. Many animals grow horns and claws that exhibit spiral shapes closely related to Fibonacci spirals. These spirals are not merely decorative, they serve a vital structural purpose. The spiral form distributes mechanical stress evenly along the horn or claw, enhancing durability and reducing the chance of breakage during combat or digging. For example, the curved, spiraled horns of bighorn sheep or the twisting claws of certain reptiles follow this natural design principle. This pattern allows these appendages to be strong yet lightweight, optimized for survival in demanding environments. The spiral shape also helps in growth regulation. As the animal matures, its horns or claws grow continuously, curling in predictable patterns that maximize length without unnecessary bulk. This efficiency reflects the same self-similar growth found in shells, where proportional expansion maintains form and function. Spirals allow these body parts to grow large and effective without compromising balance or mobility, a critical factor in an animal's ability to thrive. Beyond strength and growth, spiral horns and claws also play roles in display and mating behaviors. The impressive spiraling structures can signal health and genetic fitness to potential mates, while intimidating rivals. This blend of form, function, and communication underscores how Fibonacci-like spirals permeate the natural world, not just in plants and shells, but throughout animal anatomy as well. Spiderwebs often showcase intricate spiral patterns, demonstrating nature's affinity for this efficient and beautiful shape. The classical web is composed of concentric circles connected by radial threads, forming a spiral that maximizes surface area while maintaining structural strength. This design allows spiders to catch prey effectively, balancing durability with the ability to absorb impact without breaking. Spirals in webs are not random but carefully constructed, optimizing the web's function as both trap and shelter. Beyond spider webs, other natural constructions also incorporate spirals for practical purposes. For instance, snail shells, as previously discussed, and even some bird nests display spiral or curved shapes that enhance stability and resource use. These spirals help distribute forces evenly across the structure, making it resilient against wind, rain, or the movements of inhabitants. This principle of spiral construction extends across many scales and species, highlighting its universal efficiency. The repeated use of spiral patterns in natural architecture reflects an evolutionary preference for forms that combine strength, flexibility, and economy of materials. Such designs minimize energy expenditure while maximizing utility, crucial for survival in the wild. Spirals, therefore, are not just mathematical curiosities. They are essential solutions, crafted by millions of years of natural selection, woven into the very fabric of life's construction. Large-scale weather systems often reveal patterns that mirror the spirals we see in nature, including those related to Fibonacci principles. Hurricanes, for example, form striking spiral shapes as they rotate around the central eye. This swirling motion arises from the Coriolis effect and the dynamics of air pressure and temperature. The curved bands of clouds and wind trace a path that echoes the efficiency and balance found in natural spirals, helping the storm organize and sustain itself. These spiral structures are not limited to hurricanes. Many cyclones and even some tornadoes display similar curved patterns. The spiraling flow allows these systems to conserve energy while moving vast amounts of air and moisture across thousands of miles. The geometry of these spirals optimizes the distribution of forces, making the storms both powerful and persistent. It's a striking example of how natural laws shape phenomena at very different scales. Though these spirals are not perfect Fibonacci sequences, their resemblance to such mathematical patterns suggests an underlying order in chaotic systems. The way energy moves and circulates within weather systems often aligns with principles of growth and balance that Fibonacci numbers help describe. This connection invites us to see the universe as an intricate network of repeating patterns, from microscopic life to massive storms. Ecosystems often exhibit fractal patterns, complex, self-similar shapes that repeat across scales, which share intriguing connections to Fibonacci-like structures. For example, branching in river networks and tree canopies reflects recursive patterns, where smaller branches or streams mimic the overall shape of the whole system. These natural fractals optimize resource distribution, such as water flow or sunlight capture, allowing ecosystems to function efficiently across diverse environments. In many forests, the arrangement of leaves, branches, and roots follows patterns that resemble recursive spirals or fractals. This self-similarity helps plants maximize space and energy capture, creating a balance between growth and stability. Even at the level of entire habitats, such as coral reefs or wetlands, fractal patterns emerge to support biodiversity and resilience, enabling species to coexist and adapt in dynamic conditions. These fractal and Fibonacci-like structures highlight nature's tendency to use repeating geometric rules to solve complex problems. They reveal a deep mathematical rhythm that underpins living systems, connecting tiny biological processes with vast environmental patterns. This recursive order invites curiosity about how universal principles shape the web of life on Earth. The complex patterns found in ecosystems, often resembling fractals or Fibonacci spirals, can significantly affect predator-prey relationships. For example, the branching structures of vegetation create intricate hiding places and ambush points for both predators and prey. This spatial complexity can influence hunting success and survival rates, shaping the behaviors and adaptations of animals living within these environments. In aquatic systems such as coral reefs or kelp forests, the fractal-like arrangements provide multiple layers of refuge and feeding grounds. Predators navigate these complex habitats by following paths shaped by spiral or recursive patterns, while prey use the intricate geometry to evade capture. This dynamic interplay between structure and behavior demonstrates how natural patterns directly influence ecological interactions. Furthermore, these repeating patterns help maintain balance within ecosystems by supporting diverse niches and reducing direct competition. The geometry of habitats driven by Fibonacci and fractal designs fosters coexistence, allowing predators and prey to adapt in response to the environment's spatial complexity. This underlying order shapes the evolutionary arms race across countless species and generations. Fibonacci patterns extend far beyond the plant kingdom, influencing evolutionary adaptations in numerous animal species. Many animals exhibit spiral structures or growth forms that align with Fibonacci sequences, providing functional advantages shaped by natural selection. These patterns often enhance strength, efficiency, or reproductive success, showing that Fibonacci is more than just a mathematical curiosity. It's a blueprint in nature's design toolkit. For example, the coiling of snail shells follows a logarithmic spiral related to Fibonacci numbers, allowing these creatures to grow without changing their shape drastically. Similarly, the spiral arrangement of horns or claws in certain animals optimizes structural integrity, making them more resistant to damage during fights or environmental stresses. These adaptations demonstrate how Fibonacci sequences can inform physical form to meet biological needs. Even behavioral traits may connect to these natural patterns. The way some animals navigate or build nests sometimes reflects spiral or recursive patterns, facilitating efficient movement or construction. This subtle integration of Fibonacci designs in animal evolution highlights the deep, often hidden connections between mathematics and the natural world, revealing a shared language of growth and survival. In the microscopic world of cells, Fibonacci sequences emerge in surprising ways, especially during growth and reproduction. Some single-celled organisms and simple multicellular life forms divide and multiply following patterns that echo Fibonacci's numbers, reflecting an inherent efficiency in how life expands. These sequences guide the timing and structure of cell division, ensuring balanced and optimized growth over time. One clear example is the way certain algae and fungi grow. Their cells often split in ratios that match Fibonacci numbers, which can influence the overall shape and size of the organism. This patterned growth helps maintain structural stability and resource distribution as the organism develops, making it more resilient in its environment. The repeating sequence acts as a natural rhythm embedded in life's blueprint. Beyond simple organisms, these Fibonacci-related growth patterns influence early developmental stages in more complex life forms as well. During embryonic development, cell division rates and layering can reflect these mathematical sequences, contributing to the harmonious formation of tissues and organs. Such connections hint at a universal principle, where Fibonacci patterns support life's orderly and efficient emergence from the microscopic scale upward. Spiral phyllotaxis, the elegant arrangement of leaves around a stem, arises naturally from simple biological growth rules encoded within plants. As new leaf buds form, they do so at specific angles that optimize space, minimizing overlap and allowing each leaf to access sunlight efficiently. This angular spacing often approximates the golden angle, about 137.5 degrees, which is closely related to the Fibonacci sequence. The process involves the plant's growth hormones, especially auxins, which regulate where new leaves emerge. These hormones create inhibitory fields around existing buds, guiding new growth to positions that maintain a spiral pattern. This self-organizing mechanism ensures that leaves are evenly distributed around the stem, balancing the plant's need for light capture with structural stability. Over time, this biological feedback creates the distinctive spiral pattern seen in many plants, from daisies to succulents. These spirals aren't random, but rather emerge from the plant's internal growth dynamics, illustrating how complex natural patterns arise from simple local rules at the cellular and biochemical level. The intricate patterns observed in plants, including spirals and leaf arrangements, are guided by developmental biology at the genetic level. Specific genes regulate how cells grow, divide, and differentiate, orchestrating the formation of these natural designs. Key genes influence the production and distribution of growth hormones, such as auxins, which play a critical role in shaping plant architecture. Genetic pathways control the timing and location of cell division, directing the emergence of leaf primordia in precise spatial sequences. These sequences often produce Fibonacci-related patterns because the genetic regulatory networks optimize for efficient resource use and growth. Mutations in these genes can alter pattern formation, sometimes resulting in variations of the spiral arrangements or deviations from the golden angle. Research in developmental genetics continues to uncover the complex interactions between multiple genes and environmental factors that fine-tune these patterns. This genetic control exemplifies how evolution shapes plants to harness mathematical efficiency in their form and function, reinforcing the connection between biology and the Fibonacci sequence. Mathematical models help scientists understand how spiral and ratio patterns emerge naturally in living organisms. By simulating growth processes and physical constraints, these models reveal how simple rules can generate complex, recurring structures like those linked to the Fibonacci sequence. For example, models based on the golden angle show how successive growth points positioned at roughly 137. 5 degrees produce spiral arrangements seen in leaves and seeds. These models often use algorithms that mimic biological growth, where new cells or organs develop at angles and distances that optimize light exposure or packing efficiency. By incorporating feedback mechanisms like hormone distribution and mechanical forces, the models reproduce the natural spirals and ratios observed across plant species. This approach bridges pure mathematics with biological reality. Such mathematical frameworks are not just theoretical. They guide experimental biology by predicting how changes in growth parameters affect pattern formation. Over time, these models have helped demystify why Fibonacci-related patterns are so prevalent and why nature often converges on similar solutions for growth and efficiency. Fibonacci spirals appear subtly throughout human anatomy, revealing a surprising connection between mathematics and our own bodies. One well-known example is the shape of the human ear, which often resembles a gentle spiral that follows the proportions associated with the Fibonacci sequence. This natural curve may aid in directing sound waves efficiently toward the inner ear. Beyond the ear, some researchers have noted that the overall proportions of the human body, including the length of limbs relative to each other, often approximate the golden ratio, a close cousin of the Fibonacci sequence. These proportions contribute to what many perceive as harmonious and balanced in human form, though natural variation is always present. While the presence of Fibonacci spirals in anatomy is less overt than in plants, their subtle recurrence suggests that mathematical patterns might play a role in growth processes and developmental constraints. These spirals and ratios echo a broader theme of nature's preference for efficient, balanced structures. Mathematics offers powerful tools to describe patterns in nature, but living forms rarely follow perfect formulas. While Fibonacci sequences and the golden ratio provide useful frameworks, real organisms are shaped by countless variables: genetic mutations, environmental influences, and random events that introduce variation and complexity beyond simple math. For example, leaves arranged in spirals often approximate Fibonacci patterns, but exact numerical precision is rare. These natural deviations are not errors but adaptive flexibility, allowing plants to respond dynamically to their surroundings, optimize resource use, and survive unpredictable conditions. This imperfect harmony between math and biology highlights a key insight. Nature values function and adaptability over strict adherence to idealized patterns. Living forms embody mathematical tendencies as guidelines rather than rigid rules, blending order with organic variation in endlessly fascinating ways. Recent scientific research is beginning to reveal the important role that Fibonacci patterns may play in enhancing growth efficiency across many living organisms. These naturally occurring spirals and ratios do more than just create beautiful shapes. They appear to be evolutionary strategies that help organisms make the most of available resources. By organizing structures like leaves, branches, and roots in Fibonacci spirals, plants optimize space and energy use, while animals benefit from enhanced strength and flexibility with minimal tar. Material. This optimization reduces waste and improves overall function, giving organisms an edge in their environments. One particularly well-studied example involves the arrangement of leaves, known as spiral phyllotaxis. Leaves arranged in Fibonacci spirals minimize shading on one another, ensuring that each leaf receives maximum sunlight. This efficient light capture improves photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert light into energy, and ultimately supports better growth and reproduction. Scientists have measured the angles between leaves and found consistent patterns that closely follow Fibonacci numbers, suggesting natural selection favors these arrangements for their clear functional benefits. Beyond plants, mathematical and computational models provide deeper insight into how Fibonacci growth patterns contribute to structural efficiency. These models show that spirals following Fibonacci sequences can produce forms that balance strength with flexibility while using minimal biological material. For example, animal horns or shells that follow these patterns can withstand stresses better while remaining lightweight. These studies imply that the appearance of Fibonacci patterns in nature is not merely coincidental or aesthetic, but rather a reflection of underlying biological principles that drive survival and efficiency, complex, competitive environments. Throughout history, the golden ratio has fascinated artists, architects, and designers as a symbol of harmony and aesthetic balance. This special number, often associated with natural growth patterns and beauty, has quietly influenced creative work for thousands of years. Although artists rarely expressed it in mathematical terms, many intuitively applied the principles behind the golden ratio to create works that feel pleasing and well-proportioned. Ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians and Greeks, incorporated this sense of proportion in their architecture and art. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is often cited as reflecting ratios close to the golden ratio, contributing to its timeless elegance and structural harmony. Similarly, Greek sculptors like Phidias designed statues with proportions that align with these naturally appealing ratios, giving their works a sense of balance that resonates even today. During the Renaissance, artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo explored human anatomy and natural forms through a lens of ideal proportions. Da Vinci's famous drawing, The Vitruvian Man, illustrates the human body with ratios that echo the golden ratio, highlighting the connection between natural form and mathematical beauty. Painters and architects employed these principles to arrange elements in their compositions, so the eye moves smoothly and comfortably across the work. Even in modern design, the golden ratio continues to inspire creativity, appearing in everything from logo design to photography composition. Though the concept is sometimes debated, its lasting presence speaks to a deep human appreciation for balance and order, qualities that emerge naturally from patterns seen throughout the natural world. This historical fascination reminds us that the golden ratio is not just a number, but a bridge connecting science, nature, and art. Humans seem naturally drawn to shapes and proportions that approximate the golden ratio, finding them visually pleasing and harmonious without fully understanding why. This subtle attraction appears across many aspects of perception, from faces and bodies to architecture and art. Studies in psychology and aesthetics suggest that people consistently rate objects and images with proportions close to the golden ratio as more beautiful or balanced. In human faces, for example, certain distances and ratios, like the spacing between the eyes, the length of the nose, and the width of the mouth, often cluster near values related to the golden ratio. While individual variation is vast, many cultures have independently identified these proportions as markers of attractiveness and symmetry. This preference may be rooted in evolutionary biology, as symmetrical and proportionate features often signal health and genetic fitness. Beyond faces, the human body itself exhibits approximations of the golden ratio. The relative lengths of limbs, the torso, and even the shape of the ear subtly reflect this pattern. Artists throughout history have observed these recurring ratios and incorporated them into their work, often with no direct knowledge of the underlying mathematics, simply following what looks natural and balanced. In visual arts and design, compositions that subtly echo the golden ratio tend to guide the viewer's eye in a comfortable, flowing way. Photographers, painters, and graphic designers use this knowledge, sometimes consciously, sometimes intuitively, to create images that feel both dynamic and restful. This innate attraction to golden ratio proportions suggests a deep connection between human perception and the fundamental patterns that shape the natural world. It is as if our brains are wired to recognize and appreciate the harmony embedded in nature's design, creating an unconscious bridge between biology, art, and mathematics. Throughout history, artists and architects have drawn inspiration from nature's elegant patterns, including the golden ratio and Fibonacci sequences, embedding these designs into their work to evoke balance and beauty. While they may not have explicitly known the mathematical details, their keen observation of natural forms guided them to create structures and artworks that resonate deeply with human perception. In ancient architecture, the Parthenon in Athens is often cited for its harmonious proportions, many of which approximate the golden ratio. Its carefully measured columns, spacing, and facade create a sense of balance that feels timeless. This architectural harmony mirrors the natural order found in plants and shells, translating organic design principles into stone. During the Renaissance, artists like Leonardo da Vinci explored human anatomy and proportion extensively. His famous Vitruvian Man sketches reveal an interest in natural ratios and symmetry, reflecting a belief that the human body embodies universal mathematical principles. Da Vinci and his contemporaries infused their paintings and sculptures with compositional elements that follow Fibonacci-related spacing, creating pleasing and dynamic visual experiences. Sculptors have similarly used spirals and proportional relationships inspired by nature. The works of sculptors such as Henry Moore often emphasize flowing curves and balanced forms that echo the spirals found in shells or the branching of trees. These natural motifs connect art to the world's intrinsic order. More modern architecture continues to explore these concepts. Frank Lloyd Wright, for example, integrated natural geometry into his building designs, blending structures seamlessly with their surroundings and using proportions that foster harmony. Through architecture, painting, and sculpture, the echoes of nature's mathematical patterns offer a bridge between the organic and the human-made. These works continue to captivate because they resonate with a deep, intuitive sense of balance rooted in the natural world. Humans have an innate sensitivity to patterns and proportions, which influences how we perceive beauty and balance. Psychological research has explored how certain shapes, ratios, and symmetries, like those related to the golden ratio, affect our aesthetic preferences, revealing that our brains respond positively to theme. Forms that echo natural harmony. Studies using visual preference tests often show that people favor images and objects with proportions close to the golden ratio. These proportions seem to create a sense of balance and visual comfort that is both subtle and compelling. Interestingly, this preference is not limited by culture or age, suggesting a universal aspect of human perception. Researchers have also investigated how symmetry impacts our judgment of attractiveness and harmony. Symmetrical faces, for example, are often rated as more attractive, which may relate to evolutionary cues for health and genetic fitness. This preference for symmetry extends beyond faces to landscapes, artworks, and even music, indicating a broad cognitive bias for balanced structures. Cognitive science has examined how the brain processes these ratios. Functional imaging studies reveal that viewing objects with golden ratio proportions activates reward centers in the brain, suggesting an intrinsic neurological basis for our attraction to these patterns. This connection between pattern recognition and pleasure may help explain why Fibonacci-related designs feel soothing or beautiful. Moreover, the psychological appeal of these patterns may stem from their predictability combined with subtle complexity. Patterns that are too simple or too chaotic tend to be less appealing, whereas those exhibiting a balanced mix, such as Fibonacci spirals or golden rectangles, engage the brain's pattern-finding faculties without overwhelming it. These insights from psychology help us understand why Fibonacci patterns and the golden ratio have been so deeply woven into art, design, and nature, reflecting a shared human response to natural harmony, and balance. Nature's intricate patterns have long inspired human creativity, serving as a bridge between the organic world and artistic expression. The repetition, rhythm, and harmony found in natural forms, especially those reflecting Fibonacci sequences and the golden ratio, provide a rich source of ideas for artists, architects, and designers, seeking to evoke balance and beauty. Artists often draw directly from the spirals of seashells, the branching of trees, or the arrangement of petals, translating these into visual motifs that resonate deeply with viewers. These patterns are not merely decorative. They embody underlying principles of growth, proportion, and efficiency that have evolved over millions of years, embedding a sense of life and vitality into creative works. Architecture, too, frequently echoes natural geometries. From ancient temples to modern buildings, designers have used ratios similar to the golden ratio to create spaces that feel harmonious and welcoming. These proportions can guide the layout of structures, the relationships between rooms, and the positioning of elements, subtly influencing how people experience and move through built environments. Beyond visual arts and architecture, natural patterns inform music, literature, and dance. Rhythms and scales often reflect recursive or fractal patterns found in nature, creating works that feel intuitively satisfying. Writers and poets may mimic the unfolding of natural sequences in narrative arcs or linguistic rhythms, weaving a sense of flow that mirrors the world around us. This cross-pollination between nature and human creativity reflects a deeper connection. Our brains are wired to recognize and appreciate the patterns that sustain life itself. By incorporating these forms into art and design, we tap into a universal language of balance and harmony that transcends culture and time, grounding our creative impulses in the very fabric of the natural world. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio hold a unique place where science and culture gracefully intersect. These mathematical ideas, born from the study of numbers and natural growth, have extended far beyond equations and biology, becoming symbols woven into art, philosophy, and even spirituality. In science, these patterns describe how plants arrange leaves to capture sunlight efficiently, or how shells grow in elegant spirals. But the same patterns captivate artists and thinkers because they evoke harmony, balance, and a sense of order in complexity. This duality allows Fibonacci and the golden ratio to serve as a bridge, connecting the measurable world with human imagination and meaning. Throughout history, philosophers and mystics have found in these numbers a metaphor for the natural order of the universe. The golden ratio, sometimes called the divine proportion, has inspired reflections on beauty, affection, and cosmic design. Meanwhile, modern culture embraces these patterns in architecture, design, and media, subtly echoing the structures seen in nature. This crossing of boundaries also enriches scientific understanding. Cultural appreciation encourages scientists to explore why these patterns appear so frequently in living things, leading to discoveries about growth processes, genetics, and evolutionary advantages. Conversely, scientific insights deepen cultural meanings. offering new ways to appreciate art and design grounded in natural principles. In this way, Fibonacci and the golden ratio form a quiet dialogue between empirical observation and human creativity. They remind us that science is not isolated from culture, but intertwined with our desire to find meaning and beauty in the world around us. Why do proportions related to the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio often feel so pleasing to us? This question has intrigued thinkers for centuries, and while no single answer fully explains it, several ideas suggest a deep connection between these patterns and human perception. One possibility is that our brains are wired to recognize and respond to patterns that balance complexity with order. The golden ratio, with its unique relationship between parts and the whole, creates a harmony that feels neither chaotic nor overly simple. This balance might stimulate visual and cognitive processes in a way that feels naturally comfortable or satisfying. Psychologists have studied how people perceive symmetry, proportion, and balance, finding that these elements often evoke feelings of calm and aesthetic pleasure. Images or objects that approximate the golden ratio may subconsciously align with neural pathways shaped by our experiences in nature, where such proportions frequently appear, from the branching of trees to the spirals of seashells. Another theory connects this pleasing sensation to evolutionary advantages. Recognizing balanced and harmonious patterns could have helped our ancestors identify healthy environments or mates, leading to an innate preference for these proportions. This evolutionary lens suggests that what we find beautiful is deeply tied to survival and well-being. Yet, cultural factors also play a role. Exposure to art and architecture that uses these proportions reinforces their appeal, creating a feedback loop between biology and learned appreciation. Ultimately, the feeling of pleasure when we encounter Fibonacci-related proportions may arise from a blend of biology, environment, and culture, an intricate dance between the world outside and the mind within. This mystery itself invites quiet wonder, a gentle reminder that the simplest numbers can resonate deeply within us. Despite centuries of study, the role of the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio in nature remains only partially understood. Scientists continue to explore why these patterns appear so frequently, yet no definitive explanation fully accounts for their widespread presence or significance. One key question is whether the Fibonacci sequence is a direct result of biological design or simply a convenient mathematical approximation that arises naturally from physical and chemical processes. For example, spiral growth in plants or shells might reflect efficient packing or resource distribution, but why these exact numerical relationships emerge consistently is still unclear. Researchers are investigating the mechanisms by which cells and tissues develop these patterns during growth. Genetic, biochemical, and mechanical factors all interact in complex ways, but the precise triggers for Fibonacci-like arrangements remain elusive. Are genes coding directly for these patterns, or do they emerge from self-organizing principles within biological systems? Another area of uncertainty is the functional advantage of Fibonacci patterns. While many studies suggest they improve efficiency, light capture, or structural stability, it is not always clear if natural selection specifically favors these patterns or if they are byproducts of other constraints. Moreover, Fibonacci patterns are not perfectly precise in nature. They appear as approximations rather than exact matches. Understanding how and why such imperfect manifestations occur may reveal new insights into developmental biology and evolutionary processes. Scientists also grapple with separating cultural fascination from scientific fact. The human tendency to see patterns may sometimes overemphasize the presence of Fibonacci numbers where none were intentionally formed. This ongoing inquiry invites us to embrace the mystery, recognizing that nature's secrets often unfold gradually. The Fibonacci sequence is a beautiful thread woven through life, but the full tapestry of its meaning remains to be discovered. The question of whether Fibonacci patterns in nature are purely coincidental or hold functional significance remains a lively topic among scientists. Some argue these patterns emerge inevitably from the physical and chemical laws governing growth, while others see them as adaptive features honed by evolution. On one side, proponents of the functional view suggest Fibonacci sequences improve efficiency in packing, light exposure, or structural integrity. For example, spiral leaf arrangements can maximize sunlight capture, giving plants a survival edge. Similarly, shells that grow following Fibonacci spirals may distribute mechanical stress evenly, reducing damage. Others caution against assuming purpose where chance could suffice. They point out that natural systems often produce repeating patterns without any specific adaptive reason. Physical constraints such as space or energy minimization can lead to regularity without deliberate design. This debate highlights the challenge of interpreting complex biological patterns. Are we seeing nature's intentional blueprint, or simply the outcome of universal mathematical principles shaping organic forms? The answer may vary across different species and contexts. Further complicating matters, the imperfect presence of Fibonacci numbers in nature suggests a blend of both chance and function. Variations from exact sequences indicate flexibility rather than strict adherence, allowing organisms to adapt to diverse environments. Research continues to probe these questions, combining biology, physics, and mathematics. Understanding the balance between coincidence and function not only enriches our knowledge of life's design, but also informs broader inquiries into complexity and order in the natural world. Whether coincidental or functional, the recurring appearance of Fibonacci patterns invites us to marvel at nature's intricate harmony, a reminder that science often dances with mystery as it seeks clarity. Measuring and defining what makes a spiral perfect in nature is a surprisingly complex task. Unlike the ideal mathematical spirals drawn on paper, natural spirals are often irregular and influenced by countless environmental and genetic factors. This inherent variability makes it difficult for scientists to apply strict definitions. One challenge lies in the limits of observation. Many spirals occur on tiny scales, like the delicate patterns on seashells or the arrangement of seeds in a sunflower. Capturing their exact shape requires precise imaging and measurement tools. Even then, natural wear, growth conditions, and mutations can alter their form. Another complexity is that nature rarely follows exact mathematical formulas. Spirals might approximate the golden ratio or Fibonacci sequence, but rarely match them perfectly. This imperfect resemblance means researchers must develop flexible criteria to recognize these patterns without demanding absolute precision. Additionally, spirals exist within living organisms that grow and change. Growth rates can vary based on nutrient availability, climate, or genetic expression, causing deviations from ideal models. These dynamic factors introduce irregularities that blur the line between perfect and natural. The difficulty in pinning down the perfect spiral has practical implications. It challenges how scientists test hypotheses about the function and origin of these patterns. Without clear definitions, debates arise about whether observed spirals truly represent Fibonacci-based growth or are coincidental shapes. Yet, this imperfection also reveals something beautiful about life: nature's embrace of flexibility over rigid rules. Instead of perfect copies, we find spirals that adapt, evolve, and flourish within their environments. Understanding these challenges helps us appreciate the subtle balance between mathematical order and biological variation, deepening our sense of wonder about the living world's complexity. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio often appear alongside other fundamental constants in nature, hinting at deeper connections yet to be fully understood. While the golden ratio itself is a unique mathematical constant, researchers have long wondered if it relates to constants that govern the physical universe. For example, the Fibonacci constant, which characterizes the strength of electromagnetic interactions, remains one of the most mysterious numbers in physics. Though no direct link has been confirmed, some scientists speculate that the mathematical harmony seen in Fibonacci patterns might resonate with these fundamental constants in subtle ways. Similarly, the Fibonacci sequence appears in models of atomic and molecular structures, where energy levels and bonding patterns sometimes reflect ratios close to the golden mean. These occurrences raise intriguing questions about whether the mathematics behind life's growth patterns might share principles with the forces shaping matter itself. The mathematical elegance of Fibonacci spirals also parallels the symmetries found in crystallography, the study of atomic arrangements in solids. Quasi-crystals, which display non-repeating but ordered patterns, exhibit golden ratio relationships, suggesting a connection between biological patterns and fundamental physical structures. Despite these tantalizing hints, definitive scientific explanations remain elusive. The challenge lies in bridging biology's complexity with physics' precise constants. Biological systems are influenced by evolution and environmental pressures, which can create Fibonacci-like patterns without strict mathematical origins. Still, the presence of Fibonacci-related patterns across vastly different scales, from tiny seashells to galactic spirals, invites a deeper search for universal principles. Whether these connections are coincidental or signify a hidden order, they inspire ongoing curiosity. As science advances, exploring potential links between Fibonacci and natural constants may uncover new insights into the intertwined fabric of mathematics, biology, and physics. Nature often balances delicately between order and chaos, weaving patterns that feel both predictable and mysterious. The Fibonacci sequence and golden ratio capture this tension, representing a bridge between strict mathematical order and the organic unpredictability of living forms. Philosophers and scientists alike have long pondered what it means for nature to be both orderly and chaotic. Is the presence of patterns like Fibonacci's a sign of a deeper cosmic harmony, or simply a byproduct of evolutionary processes adapting to environmental constraints? This question invites reflection on how we perceive beauty itself. The spirals and ratios that recur in plants, animals, and galaxies evoke a sense of balance and elegance. They suggest that amidst the apparent randomness of the universe, there is an underlying rhythm or structure. Yet, no natural form is perfectly symmetrical or rigidly mathematical. Imperfections and variations reveal the influence of chance, change, and complexity. This interplay of order and chaos may be why humans find these patterns so compelling. They resonate with our innate desire to find meaning and connection in the world around us. The golden ratio is sometimes called nature's secret language, because it seems to encode a sense of harmony that transcends individual species or scales. At the same time, embracing nature's imperfections reminds us that beauty is not about flawless design, but about the dynamic, evolving processes that create life's diversity. The Fibonacci sequence serves as a quiet invitation to explore these mysteries without expecting simple answers. By reflecting on the philosophical questions raised by natural patterns, we deepen our appreciation for the universe's complexity, a complexity that can be both scientifically studied and poetically felt. Scientists continue to investigate how Fibonacci patterns emerge in nature, uncovering new layers of complexity and insight. Modern research combines biology, mathematics, and computer modeling to better understand the mechanisms that give rise to these elegant spirals and ratios. At the cellular level, Researchers study how growth hormones and gene regulation guide the arrangement of leaves, petals, and seeds in spiral patterns. These biological processes appear to follow simple rules that produce complex, self-organizing forms, often aligned with Fibonacci numbers. Experimental work with plants like sunflowers and pine cones reveals how timing and cell division affect the final shape. Mathematicians and physicists contribute by developing models that simulate natural growth, incorporating factors like mechanical forces, energy efficiency, and environmental constraints. These models help explain why certain spirals are favored in nature, offering clues about optimization and stability in living systems. Advances in imaging technologies such as high-resolution microscopy and 3D scanning allow scientists to examine intricate natural forms with unprecedented detail. This data supports testing and refining theoretical models, deepening our grasp of how Fibonacci-related patterns manifest across scales, from microscopic structures to entire ecosystems. Researchers also explore connections between Fibonacci sequences and other mathematical constants found in physics, such as the Fibonacci constant or fractal dimensions. These links hint at a potentially broader framework connecting mathematics and biology. Ongoing interdisciplinary collaboration is key to unraveling these mysteries. As studies progress, they may reveal new principles of natural design, enriching both scientific knowledge and our aesthetic understanding. The pursuit continues quietly, patiently, reflecting the subtle beauty and complexity of the patterns themselves, patiently waiting to be uncovered, layer by layer. But perhaps the most captivating aspect of Fibonacci's presence in nature is its quiet invitation to wonder. These patterns, weaving silently through leaves, shells, and galaxies, speak in a language without words, a subtle rhythm connecting all living things. They remind us that beneath the surface of what we see lies an elegant order, not imposed but arising naturally, patiently shaping life's complexity. As we consider these spirals and ratios, we enter a space where science meets mystery. The patterns do not demand answers. Instead, they encourage curiosity, urging us to listen more closely to the world's hidden harmonies. They whisper of connections spanning from tiny cells to vast cosmic structures, hinting at a universal code woven into the fabric of reality. In this quiet moment, we can pause and appreciate the beauty of natural design, not just as something to analyze, but as a source of calm and inspiration. Fibonacci's secret language is both a puzzle and a poem, offering endless paths for exploration and reflection. So, as your thoughts drift gently here, allow yourself to rest in this delicate balance between knowledge and mystery, between the seen and the unseen. There is comfort in knowing that nature's silent language continues, softly unfolding its secrets with every breath, every spiral, every pulse. And so, under the quiet stars, the story continues. Good night.